My cats are breaking into the pantry right now, and that is not an innuendo.
I would hope not.
Oh, baby. We here.
We steer
you in the right direction. Welcome to another edition of the Grossi Perna Show. I'm Tom Grossi. That's Brandon Perna. And this is GPS.
God damn it. Just spell jizz.
What?
Oh, no.
You're trying to spell jizz?
Stupid ass iPhone. Yep.
Oh, you just send a text message?
Yep.
Oh.
Just trying to say I jizzed it up. Like jazzed it up, but with an I. And it wanted to spell juzz over and over and over again. You know, Apple's really gone downhill ever since Steve Jobs died. I don't like the direction of the company at all.
Because it didn't let you put jizzed?
Yeah. Also, they don't even give you the freaking power block for their stupid ass chargers. You believe that? You got to order it separately when you get a new phone.
That is dumb.
Yeah. I hate that I am attached to Apple till I'm dead. Yeah. Yeah. I love them,
baby.
but I hate them.
It's great. Every time I text an Apple user, they're like, why do you have green text? And I was like, that's how much of a Packers fan I am.
Oh. Smart. You should be able to customize based on your team.
I should.
Yeah, we got a lot to talk about today, actually.
Yes. Guess who's going to jail tonight? Hopefully Dan Snyder.
Welcome to Law and Order GPS edition.
That's it. Oh, we have a lot of legal things to talk about.
Oh, God. Jalen Carter, arrest warrant issued. Dan Snyder in I don't think he's ever out of hot water. How does he not boil? That's what I want to know. Wentz, Mariota, released. Derek Carr met with the Panthers. Galladay cut. Fournette going to be released. Rodgers doing nothing. Rodgers seeing all this stuff was like, darkness was okay. Didn't change my life.
Well, to him. Okay, I need to pause for a moment. Brandon,
I do a darkness retreat every night. It's called sleeping. It's called sleeping.
Holy God. What do we got going on here?
I don't know, but I know what I got to do.
Johnny John John!
So, listen.
Yeah.
Listen. When I set out to do this full time, and just this full time, I never thought that I would be sitting here talking about how many times my current QB wiped his ass in the darkness. Because on today's podcast, which he was featured on Aubrey Marcus's podcast, which was the same podcast that he was on last year with ayahuasca. It came out today. Just so you don't have to listen to it, he hasn't made a decision yet. He sat in there and thought about retirement and all his preconceived notions of retirement. He kind of faced those in the dark, and we're like, there's a lot of insecurity there of maybe I'm not really so ready for this. But he's excited for the conversations going forward, but he still hasn't made a decision. He's looking to do so sooner rather than later. So there's the football aspect of it in case people were wondering, right? He talks about how he was doubted in 2019, how he was more of a game manager and thought he could do so much more. Then they drafted his replacement. Then he became COVID MVP. His words, not mine. He did all that stuff, okay? And there's still, to me, if I'm a gambling man, I still think that he wants to come back and play. I don't know if that's going to be for the Packers. I'm leaning still towards the Packers, but I think he's still going to play. But about 15 minutes into the podcast, and he says it later on too, he gets into talking about pooping in the darkness. And
see, I'm on board with this. This is what I want to know.
He
I
talked
don't
about
really care if
pooping.
he comes back and plays. How frequent were his bowel movements? What was their consistency? Give me all the deets.
He was saying that they were basically clean wipes, and he just had to do a 2 wipe, and that was it. So his bowel movements were smooth and clean. That's what. And these are things that were actually. I'm not making this up. I don't have the talent or the joke writing ability to make this up. This is something that I am listening to. Listen,
did he get waxed down there?
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, 2 wipes is impressive.
2 wipes like once every 2 months if I'm lucky.
Yeah, exactly. It doesn't happen often. So
once you're a grown man, there ain't no getting out of there quickly, guys.
Yeah. So yeah,
I get a fire hose attached to my toilet at some point.
The bidet is not strong enough.
Nope.
So yeah, I listened to that today. That's what I did about Aaron Rodgers cleaning his butthole.
This is exactly what the NFL envisioned when they decided we are going to be a year-round spectacle. We're going to hype up free agency. We got the draft. We're going to get all this stuff so people are watching the entire year. Also, let's get some weird quarterbacks. Let's get them talking about their bowel movements and their darkness retreats. Wait, is this the tree? Is this the tree?
Probably fake tree.
Or is it a fake tree?
Probably fake tree.
Fake Christmas tree.
Yeah, it's fake tree.
Oh, man. I liked the idea of him taking the time to see what we have to say.
No.
He doesn't care.
No.
You don't give a fuck about us.
So just a quote. Yep. My dumps were super smooth, and in my mind, they were all 2 wipers.
I mean, why wouldn't, okay, that fits his personality and his style of football play, right? Rodgers, a little bit of a gunslinger, but he's had the arm talent to do it. He makes those scary throws, those tight window throws. You got to have that kind of confidence to be in absolute darkness and think, you know what, 2 wipes is enough. Even if you thought that was enough, why not do 2 more just to be safe?
Brandon?
I mean, I'd probably do a 10 wipe minimum in the darkness. Actually, I'd be so freaking bored that I might just do that for an hour straight just to pass the time. So,
Brandon?
Yeah.
Instead of going on vacation, I
you're hearing me talking about Aaron Rodgers wiping his arse.
Sitting to Aaron Rodgers wiping his ass. That's where I am.
And we wonder why we don't have a sponsor today, Tom.
I left teaching the youth of America to listen to Aaron Rodgers wipe his ass. So
yeah,
that's where I'm at.
From that than anything in school.
So yeah, folks, nothing new on the Aaron Rodgers point.
Well, that's out of the way.
I'll let you know.
Oh, I freaking love Aaron Rodgers. I say get weirder, Aaron. Get even weirder.
Yep.
I want Aaron Rodgers to have his team have darkness retreats at halftime. No lights at halftime.
So like the Super Bowl that one time with the Ravens and 49ers?
Ask my mother. What?
Anyway.
What's next?
All right, let's talk about legal issues. Jalen Carter. That's a big story that is just broke over the past hour. The highest defensive tackle prospect in the draft. There's an arrest warrant out for him. So there's a lot of conjecture that's going out there. So what we do know is he wasn't in the car, he wasn't driving the one because there was a student who got into an accident, right?
Yeah, a player and another player and I think a member of their training staff was also in the car. So 2 people died in a car crash in January. like just a really horrible story. He wasn't driving that automobile.
He was racing them in a different automobile.
Yeah, now it's starting to come out that I think there's another car also involved that was racing, so maybe a three total. And at the scene, they obviously said they weren't racing, and as you probably would do. But there's like video evidence of what was kind of going on the highway that hasn't been released or anything like that. But they issued a warrant for his arrest. He's not at the combine this week. I believe they're misdemeanor.
He was supposed to speak this morning at the combine. He was supposed to speak, but now obviously he's not.
Yeah, so he's not going to do that. I think he's leaving. Misdemeanor charges. So I don't know exactly like what the outcome of this will be, but it's like just a sad story, obviously. And the person who was driving the car that did crash, I believe they were intoxicated.
Yeah, there was like a one.
It was pretty bad.
Yeah.
So I don't know if this hurts his draft stock.
I imagine it's going to lead to some further questioning down the line.
Yeah, I don't know. It's just like this. I don't know how many times you got to see like just bad things happen with automobiles. It's like the last 2 years in athletes where, it makes any sort of difference. I mean, it probably won't ever. Doesn't matter. But it's just so silly. It's
pointless. Yeah, no, I got you.
Pointless. But it's crazy because he is possibly a top 5 pick in the draft for this to happen like this week. It's really unfortunate.
Yeah, they said, because this is just what was tweeted out. Ian Rappaport also tweeted this out, basically saying that they're operating their vehicles in a manner consistent with racing. It was around 2:30 in the morning. Both vehicles switched between lanes, drove in the center turn lane, drove in opposite lanes of travel, overtook other motorists, drove at high rates of speed. They were trying to outdistance, so they're racing each other. And then before the crash, the expedition was traveling at 104 miles per hour. Toxicology, LaCroix's blood alcohol was 0.197. So they were saying racing, reckless driving, and speed, and also alcohol impairment were all significant contributing factors. So yeah, that's just a horrible story. So yeah, it's just being dumb and young and dumb, and emphasis on dumb. And unfortunately, people lost their lives for it. So I mean, Jalen Carter, listen, they'll figure, because it's right now it's misdemeanor, right?
Yeah,
I think he'll fall down in the draft a little bit, but I mean, I don't think it's going to stop him from getting drafted or anything.
He'll still land on a team. I think it'll get worked out. And he wasn't driving the car that ultimately crashed. So it's that's the positive for him and his future and his career moving forward.
Sure. Well, because I don't know if this was correct. I thought I saw this, but I'd have to dive into it. Did they say that he was a mile away and was like, "Oh, we were a mile away, like we didn't know," or something like that? I think that's the issue. So, yeah. Was your favorite band?
Yeah, that's what they initially said, like at the scene, and now they're like, well, they're probably much closer than that. If they're racing. So, is it the real dumpster fire? But Led Zeppelin, Greta Van Fleet. I like Led Zeppelin and the band that sounds most like Led Zeppelin.
Nailed it.
I've been listening to Wet Leg a lot lately. I like them.
There you go.
You should listen to Wet Leg.
Before we jump into more legal things, let's talk about all the releases, because there was a string of releases that occurred over the past few days. Marcus Mariota getting released from the Atlanta Falcons, which I wouldn't really say is like super surprising.
No, I mean, knowing it's like it saves them like $12 million.
They already are. I think they're number 2 in cap space right now.
Yeah, to me, that move says that they might be interested in one of the possible veteran quarterbacks. The Falcons also need a lot of help, across the board, like on
they're
defense.
rebuilding.
They got a couple good ball catchers. It's a little surprising in that they have Desmond Ridder, and going into his second season, I think having Marcus Mariota on the roster behind him, assuming, Ridder would be the starter, I don't think that's a bad situation to be in.
Sure.
So, but like in terms of how they want to use Mariota, no, but I think they might be more interested in a quarterback than we were kind of giving them credit for, even in the draft. And I listened to their GM, Terry Fontenot, on NFL Network yesterday, thinking like he was going to, give like Desmond Ridder's our guy, that whole spiel. Not what he said. So they could be in play, I think, to move up because they're at spot 8. So they're right behind the Raiders, who are, unless they get Rodgers, they're going to be looking at a quarterback. So maybe they move up to try and get a guy, if depending on how the top of that draft shakes
Speaking
out.
of the Raiders came out and said, I think it was McDaniels who came out and said that they want a QB who's going to be here for a long time. Apparently Devontae Adams is going to have a say in who their QB is going to eventually be. So I would not be surprised because everything that I'm...
Shut up. Don't you dare say that. Fucking most insulting comment I've ever read in my life. And I've seen some people tell me to just end myself. Don't you dare put that blasphemy on the greatest band of all time. Anyway, what are you saying?
So, yeah, I think from what I'm reading and what I'm seeing, I don't think the Raiders are really going to go after Rodgers, because that's combined with the comment that was saying like that they weren't going to be in on him. And then there's the comment of saying like they want him for a long time. I think with Aaron Rodgers, who has been contemplating retirement, I don't know if you have him for more than a year or so. So obviously things can change.
What's a long time for Josh McDaniels, though? I say it's 2 seasons with a quarterback. He's like, that's an eternity. It's the Beatles. The Beatles are the Tom Brady.
Do they stay at 1? No. If you're the Bears, no, you get out of that number 1 spot 1,000,000%. And the Bears coming out and say like they're going to do their due diligence on QBs and stuff, but yeah, they're likely just going to stick with Fields. But no, you get a king's ransom for that number 1 overall spot. You go, who wants Bryce Young? Who wants him? Absolutely. So that. But yeah, I don't think the Raiders go after him. And now, speaking of Raiders, Derek Carr also visiting with the Carolina Panthers, and we'll visit there. So there's some movement there, because you talked about Derek Carr going to the Panthers. I
just can't get over this Led Zeppelin thing, Tom.
You know what? It really seemed like you were still stuck in that rut. You really took that personal, huh?
This is... I don't know if I can do the rest of the show.
So,
Jess and I, our wedding song was Going to California by Led Zeppelin. One of the most beautiful songs you'll ever hear. Fucking Tom Brady bullshit.
Brandon needs a timeout. But I can carry for a little bit if you need.
All right. Derek Carr met with the Panthers. Yeah.
That's his Frodo.
That's the best fit. Here's what I want to say, Tom.
Tell me.
About Derek Carr, right? Because he met with the Panthers. He's going to meet with the Jets again. He's going to meet with the Saints again. If the Jets are really interested in Derek Carr, is he an idiot to choose either the Panthers over the Saints over the Jets right now in terms of where those teams are at to succeed right away? Because to me, it feels like the Jets are the best team, just missing a QB.
A quarterback, yeah.
Yeah, the Panthers... I think they've got like an underrated roster. The Saints, they have talent, but they always have the cap issue. I don't know where the Saints are going to be. I don't know how much I trust Dennis Allen. But like, if you're Derek Carr, why wouldn't you have already said yes to the Jets?
Because I don't think it's up to him.
You think they're like, we love you, we want you, but we're waiting for this one other weirdo to decide what he's doing?
I think that there is a waiting game that's attributed to it. I think it's a both sides thing, but I think that there's like, hey, we want to see how the dust settles on. Because put it this way, let's forget Rodgers for a second. What if Lamar Jackson becomes available?
Yeah.
That's what I'm like. There's two big unknowns. There's Rodgers, which Goody said that all right. Do we want to talk about the Packers? Because I did a whole news thing about this yesterday. Because Goody spoke, and I don't want to like go off track, but it relates to the Derek Carr thing. So Goody came out yesterday and said that Rodgers and him, they've only texted. They really haven't talked since their end of the year meeting, and kind of opened the door. They said, like, do you want him back as your QB? And he said, he's still a great player. He's like, but we need to have these conversations first, and then we can kind of see what's on the table. Everything on the is on the table right now. So it kind of like allowed the door to be open a little bit, which in my opinion is a different tone than what Goody has had, because he's like, oh, we want to bring all these guys back. LaFleur's said we want to bring Rodgers back. Ian Rappaport the other day said that he believes the Packers want him back. But Goody kind of like left the door open a bit, and even said about Jordan Love, he's had consistent conversations and communication with Jordan Love and his agent. And that Jordan Love is ready to be a starter in this league. And the next thing would be, the next progression is to start. So that could be Goody saying, hey, like, we want to move on to Jordan Love, or raising his trade value, because then that's also a scenario too that Jordan Love gets moved. And if you're the Jets, maybe you take a chance on him, right? Because like, you don't know what you have in there. He's going to be relatively cheap if they wind up moving him. So I think that Rodgers' decision, it has cascading effects on Derek Carr, on what the Jets are going to be doing, on what the Raiders are going to be doing, because you could have an Aaron Rodgers, a Lamar Jackson, a Jordan, like any one of those guys could be available, and we just don't know. So, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, the Packers have that weird window right now where Rodgers is still tradable, still has value, and he's just hindering what they want to do moving forward. You just don't know what he's thinking.
So the Packers,
he's not predictable, and that's hard for, like, if you're an NFL GM and you don't know what your quarterback is going to be doing on a year-to-year basis, and he's going to do this like every offseason. Like, if he comes back, he's going to do the same thing next offseason. Unless they win a Super Bowl, right? Then maybe it's like, oh yeah, I'm going to retire. But like, you don't know.
But they knew this though. When I talked to Mark Murphy last year, he was like, yeah, it's going to be a year-to-year thing. Like, if Rodgers wants to play, and he's like, he's earned that. Goody was asked about that yesterday too, and he's just like, I've just done this. Like, this has been the MO for the past couple of years now. So it's, again, we're just waiting. He doesn't want to drag it out. He said it on the podcast, and on top of that, what?
I don't want to drag it out, but I'm kind of dragging it out.
Yeah, the Packers are hoping by March 15th.
It's a big decision. It's a big decision for me.
I'm not missing it. If this guy gets traded, I ain't missing it. So, but yeah, but Derek, so like, it's just interesting because we don't have an answer, and free agency is 2 weeks away.
Yeah, he likes to get it close.
So I thought it was gonna be this week. The biggest thing that I got from yesterday, the Packers and Aaron Rodgers haven't even spoken yet. So like, we're not even there, because he's not going to come out and say, yes, I'm moving on from the Packers on Pat McAfee. I don't think he's going to do that. He has to, like, without talking to the Packers. He has to speak to the team first. He said it on the podcast that came out today. He needs to talk to the Packers first. And so he said he was excited for the conversations.
Well, I'm very excited for this phone call I could have at any time.
I'm reporting.
I know. I'm not knocking you, Tom. This is not a criticism of you.
I'm tired, Brandon. I'm just tired. I'm just
honestly
tired.
As bad as it was with Russell Wilson, I'm just glad we're not thinking about Rodgers right now. I'm just happy.
Yeah, his charity is just crap. That's fine.
It's not crap. It's just not well executed.
That's right. We're talking about crap with my QB. It's wiping. It's wiping. So, yeah. So there's lots of decisions. In addition to talking about people being released, Leonard Fournette is being released. Is it just me? I thought Leonard Fournette was like much older. Like I thought he was like 31, 32. He's 28 years old.
Leonard Fournette is one of the oldest looking young dudes on
He's not
earth.
even looking. It's just
No.
I feel like he's been in the league forever. So that was interesting, but he had over 1,000 yards from scrimmage last year. So I think at 28 years old, there's a team that 100% can still pick him up and he could play.
Yeah, I think you get him behind. Well, he's to me, he's the kind of back that needs carries to really be effective. And the Bucs just abandoned that so frequently. But he was a lot less productive last year behind their sort of, injured offensive line.
Yeah.
But yeah, he's still, I think he still has value.
He'd still be an RB2, I think, minimum.
Yeah, for sure.
And even in the passing game, because he was like their leading, like, right? Like he led the Bucs in receptions like for a season or so. Like he did that. So I don't know. He definitely could do
it. Back to Jacksonville, Lenny. Go back home, baby, with Trevor Lawrence. They're on the up and up.
You talk about
Give them your heart.
Another guy who got released. Kenny Golladay. Kenny Golladay, who signed a massive contract with the New York Giants, was arguably like one of the most exciting free agents of that year, lit it up with the Lions, went to the New York Giants, and in 2 years, he started 18 games, caught 43 passes for 602 yards and 1 touchdown.
Yeah. What year was that contract he signed?
I think it's probably 2 years ago, right? Because 2021. So
yeah,
like it was massive at the time. At the time, let's see, it was a 4-year, $72 million contract with the Giants. So that was in 2021. That didn't go well. That did not go well.
At the time, it was like I thought it was a really good signing. He was coming off an injured year with the Lions in 2020, but like before that, he had 2 back-to-back 1,000-yard receiving seasons, 5 touchdowns, 11 touchdowns with Stafford. But it was like as soon as he and Michael Thomas got paid, their production just dropped. It's not all them. It's been injuries with like both guys, but both, because I was like, Kenny Golladay, that's got to be like one of the worst looking contracts.
Yeah.
In hindsight, but then I was like, oh yeah, Michael Thomas. But yeah, Golladay now, he'll be released March 15th, right? So he'll be a free agent.
And he's 30. Like so I mean, there's a team that could take a flyer on him and like maybe
Rams go if Stafford's coming back.
Oh, you imagine?
Reunite Kenny and Stafford.
The thing I would say though is like I think the knock is that if Brian Dable couldn't find a way for him to function in that offense, because I get it, right? Like Joe Judge sucks, like they really weren't utilizing anybody or the talent there. But if Brian Dable, like coach of the year, who was able to bring the best out of all these guys, if he couldn't make it work, it's not a good look.
Yeah. I mean, also, is it Dable or is it all Danny Jones?
Yeah, maybe they're just not compatible. I mean, because the thing about Kenny Golladay, what made him so good was his contested catch rate. Like that guy was just going up and like just grab it. He was really good with the Lions.
Yeah, contested catch. That's a good point because I was listening to who's the Giants GM? Joe Shane?
Yeah, Shane.
He was talking about receivers because they let Kadarius Toney. They traded him to the Chiefs or whatever. They're cutting Kenny Golladay, and he was talking about speedy type receivers, how they're kind of used in their offense. And he was talking about how they value guys who can get separation because that's easier for your quarterback. And quarterbacks would prefer to play with a guy who can get separation versus your possession jump ball type guy because that's a tougher throw. So you kind of probably hit one of the points with why they moved on. from Golladay. And I think that's kind of a reflection, though, too, on Daniel Jones and his ability, because they have not extended him yet. It's looking more and more like he might have to play on the franchise tag, and that's not a great situation for the Giants because that's going to cost a shit ton of money. And Daniel Jones, I feel like here's the hot take. One of the most overrated quarterbacks last season, Dan Jones, upon reflection.
But I don't think that's a hot take from you because you've been kind of saying that all of last season, though, because you were saying he threw less interceptions, which was great, but like his touchdown numbers were still not good.
Yeah. 15 passing touchdowns. And again, there's this big looming question, like what can Daniel Jones do if he has better receiving weapons?
100%.
Then we saw, and Kadarius Toney had his hamstring issue with the Chiefs. So it's not like his production was huge there, but when he was on the field, you saw the Chiefs utilize his skill set effectively. So
yeah,
I just have a ton of questions about that. And I don't think the Giants are sold on Dan Jones. And Kenny Golladay was a disappointment as well. I loved Golladay and Stafford together, but it'll be interesting to see if Kenny Golladay goes somewhere with a elite-ish QB and his production goes back up. If Dan Jones with some better weapons has better passing performances, because I think he can. And what the Giants do in terms of free agency and the draft to add receiving weapons. And I think this draft, I don't know for sure, but it seems like the wide receiver draft spots are after 10, like from 10 to the end of the first round where the first couple receivers might go. But it's not as heavy of a wide receiver draft class as like the last couple of years, which have just felt like ridiculous in terms of there's great receivers everywhere.
Sure. The other thing, this doesn't do with releasing, but I saw this little number. So Jonathan Gannon, the new head coach for the Arizona Cardinals, former DC for the Philadelphia Eagles, was asked what went wrong in the second half of the Super Bowl. And CJ Gardner-Johnson, who is known for the trash talk, put this on Twitter saying that they didn't put him in positions to make plays. And this is something that's really interesting because Gannon had like these flashes last year in Philly, which was like, oh, okay, he knows what he's doing. Like he's blitzing well, he's doing that. And then he would have games where fans just hated him and were like, no, like there's like that, like that air of like, are you fraudulent? Is it just because you have all these amazing guys who have like 10 plus sacks? You know, it goes back to like personnel versus scheming. But yeah, Cardinals probably don't want to see that, but it's like, all right, well, how much value do you put into that opinion?
Yeah, I don't know about defensive coordinators anymore. I don't know about offensive coordinator criticism or defensive coordinator criticism. I think when you're looking at a unit you think should be performing better, you just go, it's the coordinator.
Packers.
Yeah, right. And it's like, I don't know, like how much can you do? Like, we don't know enough about where to really put the blame. And I'm not, was Gannon a perfect defensive coordinator? No, but the Eagles were an opportunistic defense. And when you're aggressive like that, sometimes it doesn't work out. But if you want to criticize how he's going to be as a head coach, right away, he's giving me Nathaniel Hackett vibes.
But again, the Cardinals, it's as you said, it's a gap year. it is a gap year. Nothing you do matters. It's fine. Like, just do a bunch of stuff. Why not? Like, who cares? That's all I'm going to say. If the Cardinals just swing and miss, draft a QB at 3. Fine. Ooh. Trade out of that spot. Trade up to number 1. Why not? Just pull a Madden move, trade up to number 1, and then trade back and get more than what you would have had. Who cares?
Oh, I was thinking about that. Did we talk about that Monday?
Yeah.
Okay.
You're saying the Bears like traded down and then like they traded down again or they trade back. Yeah. Why not? I
Why
really
not?
think that you and I could run
Oh,
the
yeah, that's
Arizona
what it
Cardinals.
was. And
Yeah.
that's this is genius. Trade with the Texans to 2 if you're Chicago. And then the next team that wants that quarterback, you trade from 2 to there.
Yep.
You could have what? Is there like a cap on how many first rounders you can have? I don't think so.
You can have all of them. It's fine.
The Bears could have 1. They could have like 4 first round draft picks next year if they play their cards right.
Why not? Who cares?
Do it.
Just go for it. Honestly, I think the Bears should try to get every first round pick next year. Ooh. I would try to go that. Try to get 1 through 32. Try to get them all.
Could a team do enough trades to have every pick in the first round?
I think that it is possible.
We should try and do that after free agency in a mock draft GPS.
Okay.
See if we can accumulate an entire first round worth of draft picks for a team.
So the first thing you'd have to look at, does any teams next year have multiple first round draft picks? That's the first thing, because that's the first team you're going to want to trade with, right?
Right.
NFL draft order. Let's see over here. 2024. Yeah, we got to see who has first round picks here. Because like Houston is going to have it, right? Because they traded the Deshaun Watson trade, right? They got right? Didn't they get a bunch?
Yeah, they got that. They should have 2.
Hold on. Yeah, Cleveland traded first and fourth rounds to alongside 2022 first and fourth round selection, 2023 first. And my God, I keep forgetting how terrible this trade was. If this really does not work out for the Browns, good God, this is going to go down as one of the worst. I forgot how much they gave up.
Yeah, and it's so funny how Russell Wilson is the evil quarterback of the worst trade ever. Deshaun Watson comes in, plays like dog poop. He is horrible as a QB on the field. Has all the legal stuff. But yeah, let's find another reason to shake down Russell Wilson. So weird to me. Is it because people just got tired of criticizing Deshaun Watson, or it's too serious to criticize him? Oh, Russ had an office, though. That son of a bitch had an office. Can you believe that? The Broncos' worst trade ever. Deshaun Watson, we'll see. Let's give him some time. Trade. Let's give Deshaun Watson some time, guys. Let's give him some time with Cleveland.
Yeah, because they got 3 first-round picks, a 4th, a 3rd, and a 4th.
They got 3 first-rounders?
They got 3 because they got 2022, 2023, and 2024. Wow. Yeah.
And right now, I guess they started to talk to Watson about restructuring his contract already. Which makes sense. But he's probably got the most pressure to play well next year.
Dude, it was all guaranteed. It was fully guaranteed.
Yeah. Also, we've got this.
Buckle up. We're gonna have some fun.
But we also got this now, Tom.
Hey, what's up, man? How you doing? Good. Shoo. Shots, explosive.
Shoo.
He's making it 1 year in Arizona. You know what? CJ Gardner-Johnson, I'm on his side. I believe everything that man just said. Everything.
Yeah.
Everything. I have not heard that.
Yeah.
That's
who he wants if he can't get the other Washington. I'll buy a team from Washington. You watch me.
True. Oh my God. I have to try and find it. Hold on. Did you see the DeMeco Ryans thing?
No.
Oh my God. Hold on.
Coach the Broncos. That's all I know about that man.
Okay. So, if I found the video, hold on, I'm going to download it. I don't know if you're going to, so did you ever watch Key and Peele?
Yeah.
Okay. So, the skit.
I worked with them once.
Did
Name
you
drop.
really?
Uh-huh.
That's awesome.
They guest hosted this show I directed when I was in LA, and it was like during the first season of Key and Peele, or maybe going into the second. But they were super cool, and I talked fantasy football with them for like 15 minutes after the show.
That's awesome.
Like these guys rock. These guys are awesome.
So, do you know the skit where it's like he's dressed as Obama and he's like going down like the line with the handshakes, and like all the white guys, he's just like shaking their hands, and like the other, he's just like, "What's up?" D'Amico Ryans literally did this at a press conference.
Oh, they done?
Ready to rock?
Oh, yeah. Ready to go.
See you. Boy, clean. I see you. Good to see you, man. What's up, man? Good. Kurt Cope. What's up, man? Great. Yes, sir. Sting. What's up with you? Book. Great, man. How you doing? Y'all get in.
He just goes down the line. Hey, how are you? What's going on? I'm like, this is fun. I saw that yesterday on Twitter, and I was like, 10 out of 10. 10 out of 10. It's literally the Key and Peele sketch come to life. It was great.
There was Matt Ryan did that too.
I love it so much.
Matt Ryan.
It's just life imitating art.
Great.
It's beautiful.
Let's see.
It's beautiful.
Oh yeah, here we go. Let me connect this guy. It's like the same thing.
It's pretty funny. Oh, also speaking of who else is going to be in the QB conversation, apparently the 49ers.
Oh, really?
Because they don't know about Brock Purdy.
Oh, yeah, because it's taking so long.
Matt Ryan. There you go. There you go. 10 out of 10. But yes, so that one is really funny. But yeah, the 49ers, because I don't think Purdy's going to be ready for the start of the season. And who knows about Trey Lance. So they're going to have like two QBs that they can roll with, but they're both injured. So they're going to be like, all right, well, we have to go find a stopgap for the moment. What's Jimmy Garoppolo doing? Jimmy Garoppolo stays again.
Jimmy just walks in like, so you guys need a quarterback, I hear. Last year I did it with, did he have like 10 million in incentives?
Yeah, it was something like that.
He just needs to be like, I want 50 million in incentives. It'll be cap friendly. But if I come in and I play most of this damn season again for you guys and play well until I get hurt, that's what the Niners got away with Jimmy G, though. It's like, how many games will we play with Jimmy G at a high level before he gets hurt? Will Brock Purdy or Trey Lance be ready to go by that time? That's the real quarterback timeline.
And they already said, too, they're just like, no, there's no way he's going to be on this team. But never say never. We always thought he was going to get traded. Dude, I would die laughing if Jimmy Garoppolo's just like, oh, here we are again. And this happens every year. It's like the opposite of Aaron Rodgers. He just wants to get away. But the 49ers, like someone keeps getting hurt or some circumstance happens. And it's like, we need you, Jim. And he's like, all right, this is the last year, though. And he does this until he's 40 and he retires.
Every time I think I'm out, they pull me back in. The
Dude,
whatever that quote is,
that would be phenomenal. Truly. I'd pay for that. All right, let's talk about, we're 43 minutes in now to our show. This is when once we pass the 40-minute mark, that's when we get into the main story.
Snyder.
Our main story tonight, Dan Snyder. Why aren't you in prison yet? Brandon, more with additional coverage. Brandon?
Okay, so let me...
You have to talk like a news reporter.
Well, Tom, I'm here with Dan Snyder in front of the prison, and he is in it.
Really? He's already in prison, Brandon?
No. Okay, so first thing, the Fox Sports lawyer, his name is Dan Lust, which...
No nuts.
Perfect.
We don't live in a world.
Okay. There's this whole like thread here. There's a lot of information to digest. What Snyder's being investigated for is financial misconduct, I think.
It has to do with his jet too, right?
Yeah. he took out a $55 million loan, allegedly without board approval from Washington.
Okay.
So you remember in 2020 when he bought out the three minority stakeholders in the team?
Yes.
Well, apparently this was part of the reason why is he took out this $55 million loan without their consent.
Hold on.
The NFL
Hold on. Jeff Bezos owns the Washington Post, right?
Yes.
And Dan Snyder's not allowing him to put a bid in because the Washington Post posted that article that kind of helped oust Snyder.
I don't know if that's Dan Snyder or if it's some other issue in that ballpark, though.
The reason I ask, and I'm so sorry to interrupt, is because when you Google Dan Snyder right now, it's like, oh, like it's what his future. ESPN's like a $55 million loan, exactly what we're talking about. There's a headline from the Washington Post that says Daniel Snyder is giving the NFL what it deserves. It just sounds like Jeff Bezos being like, well, if I can't bid on you, you're getting a strongly worded article right now. Sorry.
Oh, that's
really
hilarious.
funny.
Well, like he's not wrong because apparently the stakeholders asked the NFL to look into this loan, and they decided not to. They decided to just, it's fine. We don't want to deal with it. So now he's being investigated by the FBI and the IRS for this. And he's asked the NFL for immunity. Basically, he's like, look, if I sell the team, I don't want you guys to be able to sue me for anything. Can we get that established before you make me sell the team? Let's see here. Yeah.
What a life.
Demanding NFL owners indemnify him against future legal liability if he sells the Commanders, or he will sue. Sources say angering some owners and renewing talk of removing Snyder altogether. So,
dude, it's like ridiculous. Like he's a billionaire going, okay, if I make billions from selling this team, you also can't sue me and you just have to let me go away and do terrible things by myself.
Yeah. This is... Oh, and okay, so here's the best part. There was this text message from one of those former ownership, one of the stakeholders. My lawyer sent me your filing in which you are representing yourself pro SE. Don't know what that means. I'd be glad to represent myself pro SE, but only private discussions with you as well. That requires a business deal, not a legal process. If you continue your game, you know what I know and what I have never spoken about. And you know it has nothing to do about the media shit. It's the more serious shit. If you want to get a clean conclusion, let me know. If you want a shit show, we are on for that too.
That's what Aaron Rodgers' bowels also texted him while he went into the dark. He's just like, if you want a shit show, if you want to wipe more than twice, you let me know.
You want pro 2 wipes? We can do that. So, like,
this is such a like stupid universe we live in.
Oh, I hate it. I hate that Dan Snyder has clearly been a problem for the NFL as an owner for decades. Yeah. It's everything. He's been bad on every level. Financial crook, sexual misconduct in the workplace, enabling it, allowing it to happen, a bad owner in terms of fan experience, in terms of taking care of the stadium. They have like their own radio network thing that they use to push their own like propaganda. And it's stealing money from the other teams if that whole like ticket pool thing was true. Like the amount of things that have happened with Dan Snyder that should have had him ousted as an owner. Like his list is longer than any other owner ever by like tenfold. And they've just allowed it to go on because I think he's so petty that they just fear of they
He's
fear
gonna
the
burn it
pain
to
in
the
the
ground.
ass he will become for them
Yep.
if they alienate him. So
I'm just glad that the Washington Post isn't biased at all.
there you go.
Jeff Bezos, like, I wanted to buy a team and now I'm not able to, so now I'm mad. Yeah, but no, dude, but I've talked about this I did an episode of this years ago, and I was like,
I've
the
done
cheerleader
several.
stuff, the skimming of like the ticket sales, like the crap that he's pulled with season ticket holders. Like, there are so many things, but you're 100% correct. It's because he knows too much crap, and the NFL knows, like, if the real crap gets out, there's going to be a lot of houses on fire.
Hey, but guess what? We haven't made a decision about Calvin Ridley coming back yet.
Yeah.
This dude may have taken out $55 million illegally, but we got to protect the integrity of the game. And we will decide on Calvin Ridley when we are good and ready.
This is what I try to tell people every opportunity that I get, because when crap like this comes up, or stuff happens with like Jerry Jones or McNair, or like, all these things happen, and everyone's like, well, Roger Goodell is a joke. It's because he's the worst commissioner. I'm like, no. In the real world, Roger Goodell has little to no power. He is there as the poster boy to take all the criticism, to get all the boos at the draft. It's the owners who really control the NFL. You want to talk about diverse hires? That's the owners. You want to talk about why it's so incestuous and they hire the same people over and over again? It's the owners. Like, that is who really has the power here. It's like, I hate to make this comparison because they're two completely different things. But the crap that's going on in Ohio, like with the rail, like with you had the train derailing and everyone's like, oh my God, the CEO is horrible. The CEO is bad. But look at the board of directors who put him there and are like, yep, go out there and damage control. It's, at the end of the day, the board is the ownership here. And until things change with the ownership, you're going to see guys like Dan Snyder still able to play his game, because that's where all the real power is.
Yeah. Yeah. It's you get to those positions because you know how to manipulate things. For example, part of this whole financial investigation, Dan Snyder charged a $4.5 million advertising fee.
Yep.
To put the team logo on his private jet. Oh, you guys want me to fly around with the Washington team logo on my jet? $4.5 million to me, Dan Snyder. What I don't understand too, okay? Because we live in a completely different world monetarily. You're a billionaire. You have all the money you need to do whatever you want. And yet, the reason you become a billionaire is because you never risk your own money. So you take out a $55 million loan of money that's not yours. Could you imagine having $1 billion and being like, I need a $55 million loan? I can't. I don't understand it at all. I didn't like reading through this shit makes me realize how little I know about money and how
It's a different world,
our financial institution works.
Oh, it's different rules, right? Like completely different rules apply for like you and I, like, listen, no matter how successful we get, Brandon Perna, and I'm very content with how successful I am.
Yeah, I'm doing good right now.
Never, ever going to reach that. That man is going to have more money than I can ever make in lifetimes. And that's fine. I'm okay with that. At the end of the day, though, it unfortunately leads to more problems. And we then sit back and go, wait a minute, how come the laws and the policies and all that stuff that I need to adhere to, how come it's not being demonstrated and enacted here? And that's when you go, wait, this is BS.
Yeah.
Yeah.
When December comes and I'm paying out the arse in taxes.
Yeah.
And then I hear like these billion-dollar
Amazon
and corporations don't have to do it at all. It's like, why?
Yeah. Yep. So
anyway,
we just stumbled upon how the oligarchy in GPS. We started with Aaron Rodgers wiping his ass, and we made it to the oligarchy.
Yeah. Like I see all this stuff and I was like, yeah, we should talk about it today. But it's like, I'm not going to do another Dan Snyder episode because every time I go through that timeline of his, it just makes me mad. Just like, it makes me not want to be as invested in the NFL as I am.
Do you know how many times that has happened though? Like there are the things that have come out and I'm just like I have such a deep love for this game. Like I love football. I love the Green Bay Packers and I love freaking fracking football. Like there is no sport that comes even close to my like investment of time, energy, love, passion. Than
Your
the
second
NFL.
sport would probably be what? Quidditch?
Yeah, that's about right. But only certain teams though too, Slytherin all the way. But like, you know what I mean? Like it's frustrating when this kind of stuff happens. And usually like why I get so heated about it is because I love it so much. I'm like, I just want it to get better. Like when we complain about the officiating, which again, comparative problems, like it's so stupid, right? But this is the kind of stuff like that. I'm like, I just want it to be better. I want there to be equality here. I want there to be accountability here. I want there to be player safety here. There's so many things that I'm like, it can get better, but it's just, we are just.
I want players to make a shit ton of money.
Yeah.
I want all the owners in the NFL to make money from the league. I want them to continue to be super rich. I just don't want them to be a-holes when they're there. And I get it. There's going to be some stuff you probably don't like when you make that much money. I'm willing to accept that. But like Dan Snyder, egregious. The Deshaun Watson stuff made it hard to want to root for the Cleveland Browns, which was a team that had just, I felt like, got some momentum, got people behind them. And it's all of these situations when they're complex and they're complicated and it's varying degrees of just shady shit. It's hard to continue to just watch and enjoy the sport that you're invested in, that means so much to you. And that's like why you get critical, even when it is about officiating. And like Monday, when you said, there's a couple things that get me heated, like the Tom Brady stuff, that's just fun. Like that's a bit. But officiating, when they change rules that I don't like, that really makes me mad, dude. Like that is when the NFL instates a rule that I feel like makes the game worse. I feel like a part of my soul gets just chipped away at, like, because I have no control over it. I have no say. Sure. But anyway, that's why I love football.
That point though, right? Like there, like that, you're right though. Like it's accurate, right? Like we all like, oh, Russell Wilson guys off, but like there's Deshaun Watson is just like, hey, how we doing?
Hey guys, forget about me, please do. Yeah, please do. But anyway.
So yeah, Dan Snyder, the problem is, I think it's going to get to a point, and I think we talked about this last year on Clickbait.
Yeah.
That we're going to get to a point where the owners are going to want Dan Snyder gone. I think they've wanted Dan Snyder gone for quite some time. And it might just be like, hey, sure, you get whatever you want. You sell the team just so you're gone, just so you get out of our hair. And that sucks. Like, because he's basically like, here's some billions of dollars. Everything you did is fine. There's like no accountability. Have a good day. Take care.
Yeah. I think somebody tracked his yacht yesterday on Twitter. It was like his yacht is docked in Barcelona or somewhere close there. I don't know. Barcelona's not a coastal city, is it? I don't know. Somewhere in Spain, maybe. But anyway, I think he stays on that yacht. Maritime law. Can't catch me if I'm on the water.
I'm a pirate.
Jerry Jones is in your bathroom. Whoa, we need Jerry to hide. And Jerry needs to become the hero. He needs to be the leading guy to take down Dan Snyder. And we know Jerry don't like Dan. He don't like Dan no more. Jerry
Jones takes down Dan Snyder.
Oh yeah. This keeps coming up. But
what?
Are we gonna get invited to the creator
Dude,
combine?
oh my God, I would totally do that.
I would have been more confident last week.
Oh, before playing football.
My shoulder really hurts from that game, and I don't know what happened to it.
Yeah, I gotta give me a year. Give me a year prep, and then like we'll be good. Then we'll be good. So, just saying. I don't know. Dan Snyder's pretty bad. But Brandon, what do you got, buddy? What I got coming out?
Jerry Jones and his nefarious activities. It's cuter than Dan's. It's cuter. What do I got coming out today, Tom? Don't know. Maybe a short. Will and I are probably going to pod about the Broncos later. But
Good pot it up.
yeah, we got a Jake Locker episode in the works.
Ooh.
Johnny, I'll be shooting that today for you. I want to do this short about a Packers fan sent me this. Wanted me to do a balls deep on it, but it might just be worth a short. The cocaine kicker.
Oh yeah, the one who he kicked it, it got blocked, and it wound up coming right back to him, and he ran it back, and he was high on cocaine when he did it. Yeah.
Yeah.
The reason why a Packers fan probably just sent it to you is because it like some Packers account just put it out like earlier, and like they did a whole thread on it.
Nice.
So yeah.
You have been navigated. Tom, what do you got? What do you got in the works today?
I don't know if I'm going to come out with it today or tomorrow. I'm going to do Bears fan reaction to the season. Been taking like a little bit timing since I'm not going anywhere. Like I'm taking a little bit of downtime, so I might just wait till tomorrow to do it. Brandon Perna, you have your Patreon meeting tonight?
Yes, tonight. Patreon.
I know your schedule now. It's great because I had mine last night.
Yes. Is that when you said the chat says hi? Were you in the meeting? Or are we doing something else?
Yes.
Yeah. That info is on the Oh yeah, Johnny, you can definitely do it. I gotta write it.
Nailed it.
What does it say? Oh, Patreon info, YouTube community tab, Patreon, Zoom hangout tonight.
Well, we'll see, Joe. We'll see what happens to good old Danny boy. But
Danny,
folks, we appreciate you. Thank you so much for watching. I'm Tom Grossi. That's Brandon Perna. We back on Friday? Maybe potentially. We'll see what happens.
We'll see.
Yeah.
I like to leave suspense.
It's GPS, and you have been navigated.